Hi, and welcome to another episode of Starship Gaming, and today we are going to present the last episode for 2019 for October Madness, and we are going to talk about the Atari game Haunted House. But before we get started, I'd like to say that in November we have a few things planned, some topics we're going to talk about that'll be pretty interesting, and December we're also going to have some wintry holiday videos planned, so look forward to that. So let's get started. So, Haunted House was released for the Atari 2600 in 1982 and is one of the very first examples of the survival horror genre in video games. Yes, you heard that right. Years before Night Trap or any of them, you had Haunted House. Of course, you're probably wondering, why didn't you talk about Night Trap? Well, we're saving that for next year, so you can look forward to that if we decide to do the videos next year. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos about an announcement, I would probably go back and watch maybe the past 3 videos and find out said announcement. So, it all depends. So, Haunted House was based on a game that Atari previously released, known as Adventure. So, the goal of the game is you basically have to avoid getting hit by ghosts and bats, tarantulas, and a very evil ghost. If you look at this picture and you have played Adventure but haven't played this one, the two games are extremely similar. Except in Adventure, where you just play a block that goes around slaying dragons with swords, this one you play a pair of eyes that just kind of creep through the dark. At the time of its release, it was praised pretty well, though it was called simple. Well, let me explain why it was called simple. At the time that this game came out, there were other games that had way better on-screen graphics, and this was just when video games were starting to advance. And I think a lot of it was that not only video game fans, kids, but reviewers at the time in 1982, 1983, they were getting spoiled by arcade graphics and were starting to go away from the home console at this point. Of course, a little over a year after this game came out, was released, the video game crash in 1983 began. This game was considered a pioneer in the survival horror genre, and it was reviewed for many years to come. I recall an article I found online that was written around 1993, I believe, and it called this game a dinosaur. You know, and that's how much in 11 years time, that video games had advanced, that they called this game a dinosaur. You know, today we call this game a dinosaur, but, you know, in 1993, over 26 years ago, they were calling this game a dinosaur. Which, to us, this game was released 37 years ago. Now let that sink in for a moment. 37 years from 2019. That is quite a long time, and you have to look at it this way. Atari has been out since 1977, September of 77. So, that's been roughly 42 years. Yeah. So, in other words, it's been around for quite a long time. So, you've seen this video, and you are now wondering, where can I find a copy? Well, in my personal shop that I sell, you know, my shop that I run and own, there is literally dozens of copies of this game that litter the shelf. It is probably, it had to have been a good seller to be this many copies. Of course, they mass-produced Atari 2600 games back then. So, this game is pretty common. You can find it fairly cheap in thrift stores or video game stores Definitely don't pay more than $4 for it if you find it in a thrift store. In my personal shop, like I said, the one I run and own, I sell this game for about $1. So yeah, it's pretty common. So if you find it and you want to play it and you have an Atari 2600, go ahead and give it a try. You might like it, you might not. That's your opinion and that's my opinion. My opinion personally, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was decent, and as decent as an Atari game can be. Of course, more modern, gamers who never played Atari, they would find this game tedious. And of course, years later, this game would receive a sequel, an updated sequel, I guess you could say, and it received an unofficial sequel for one of the Atari flashback consoles, which I have several of those, and I'm not big fans of them, but they're good for the convenience. Which I can probably say we will not see any more Atari flashback consoles after this year. There may be some still lingering on store shelves in a Dollar General or a Family Dollar or your local Walmart or somewhere, your local Kmart if you still have a Kmart. Luckily, we still have a Kmart here, but it's the only one left probably in this entire state. So, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out if you do, because it inspires me to make more videos and to keep pushing forward. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want notifications of when we post our latest videos. So, until next time, I will see ya.